Hello and welcome to Create and Radiate. I'm so excited to have a friend of mine and one of my mentors. I'm blushing, maybe you guys can see, but this is David, and he's been an integral part of helping me always get unstuck at the right times. And I'm honored to have him here with all his awards, as you guys can see. Thank you, David, for joining us.
Oh, it's certainly a pleasure. Totally.
I remember when we met years ago at a ClickFunnels convention, we were sitting on the floor drinking a cocktail, and I helped you get into lotus position and got you to enlightenment like this with my yoga skills. So
Like that.
magic. So please
Lobby of a hotel, amazing things that can happen in a lobby of a hotel.
Yeah, you never know. And so tell us a little bit about you. I mean, I see the slew of awards. I've seen you on so many stages, helping your clients, and you specialize in the healthcare industry. So tell us all the things.
What would you like to know? Where should I begin?
Well, tell us about you. You're, a successful entrepreneur. You have a beautiful family, and you have a business Nitrogen.
Sure.
Tell us where you got your inspiration to start as a marketer and how this plays in with the way you live.
Well, big loaded question.
I know.
How did I? Well, I'll just tell you a little bit. So my business currently, my main business, because I own a bunch of companies today, is Business Nitrogen. But the amazing thing about it is all the opportunities that I have and that I'm involved with came out of my core business. So, it's because I get to see so much. I get to work with so many amazing entrepreneurs like yourself and learn about so many different things. You asked a question about advertising and marketing. How did I get involved? I think I was conditioned from a very young age, and no thinking about it. I know I was conditioned from a very young age. My grandfather and grandmother sold their house and moved from New Jersey, where I grew up, down to Florida, and he started a business, and they used to fly me down. I remember it was like National Airlines and then Eastern Airlines. Remember from the time I was a little kid, 4 years old, I was going on an airplane, and from the time I was like 5 or 6, I was flying by myself. And so I'd be with my grandparents for months at a time. And then once I was in school, on all the breaks and holidays, that was sort of like our summer camp and fall break camp and everything. And I recently when I was cleaning out my basement of over 3 tons worth of old stuff. Yes, 3 tons. And I'm not a hoarder. I just collected everything from when I was a kid, and I went through a lot of photos. I saw some stuff that my grandfather had a business. He did orthotics and prosthetics and medical supplies like hospital beds, wheelchairs. And I saw some of his ads back then that were drawn, and the art was by a 5, 6, and 7-year-old, and you could tell. So I didn't even realize it until I looked at that. I'm like, damn, my grandfather conditioned me to do this from the time I was a little kid.
Cheap child labor.
Cheap child labor, but I saw postcards and flyers that I did, and then in college I have the stuff that I did for my fraternity, and we did all the captions and the hooks for Rush and social, and so I was always involved in it, and I ended up going to University of Florida and graduating with a degree in advertising, and then afterwards I left it. I got involved in sales and marketing and building businesses, and built a couple 8-figure businesses. So to circle back, how my agency came to be, it was an accident. I was speaking for Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes back then. By the way, that was one of the things when I stepped down as CEO of my company. I said I was going to be a speaker. Didn't know how, never got on. Well, the 2 times I got on a stage before, I embarrassed the heck out of myself. I was reading from my PowerPoint slides, didn't even look at the audience, broke all the rules. And today, no one would believe me I wish I had the video of that. It was actually amazing how horrible it was. But that failure and me being embarrassed is really what changed things. And I decided, if you're going to be good at something, you got to put a lot of time in. And I invested in coaching, and I invested in training, and I went to seminars, I went to workshops, and then someone gave me an opportunity to be an MC on their stage and just open it up and introduce them. And that was the start of that opportunity. And within 2 years, I became at Business Breakthroughs, one of their, well, I'll say I was the top closing speaker because it was on straight commission and I know what the numbers were, but I was up there. I was good. And I learned a lot about it. So I was doing that thing. And a friend of mine asked me for recommendation to someone to help build a website and a marketing funnel. I wasn't doing this, but I understood what to do because I was teaching this.
Right.
And so I knew some people and I turned them over to this company, and he calls me up 2 months later, pissed as can be. And I remember it like it was yesterday. He calls me all upset and he's like, who the heck, it wasn't heck, did you refer me to? And I was like, well, they have a pretty good reputation. Why? He said, because they're holding me hostage. They said the website's 90% done, the 90% done, but he said it's taking him more work than he estimated. So I have to pay him $8,000 or he's not going to turn it over to me. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's not your fault. I just want to let you know. But I like this guy. We were friends. We met on an airplane, by the way. It's kind of funny. Sitting in first class talking. That's when I used to fly a lot. Just started talking. And what happened is I said, I'll just hire someone to fix it for you. And he's like, no, I'm just venting. Well, I ended up hiring someone. His name's JB. He still works with me today. And we rebuilt everything over the course of about 2 weeks. And I said, hey, go on a Zoom and get on this link. And he got on the link. He said, that's my website. Well, it wasn't Zoom back then. It was Skype or something.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah.
I said, he's like, that's my website, but that's my URL. I said, I know. I said, I rebuilt your whole site and we built your funnel. And he's like, why did you do that? I told you not to. I said, I referred you to someone. I didn't like how you felt. I would never do that to you as a friend. And so I'm just taking care of it. And he's like, no, let me pay you. What he doesn't know is I was already several $100,000 in debt. I was about to not be able, I borrowed money that month before to pay my mortgage for my teenage daughter from babysitting funds. And I put it on last credit card space that I had, and it didn't cancel me at the time, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And it was all because I was trying to invest in the business. I was making a lot of mistakes. I wasn't following rules. I was trying to do everything myself. But anyway, I just knew it was the right thing to do. Well, out of that, I ended up getting referrals from him, from all these people, and an agency was born. I was just talking to someone yesterday because, I have a creative marketing agency. I do strategy. I'm not a designer. I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. I understand strategy. And I've assembled a team, I call it my superhero team, that does everything else. But that's how my business got started.
Oh, from a bad referral. I love it.
From a bad referral, that, and I think really because my grandfather used to tell me, you can never go wrong by doing the right thing. And the right thing was to make it right, even though I was going into further debt. And it was the right thing to do, and it obviously turned out quite okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, before that, I built 2 8-figure businesses. So before the crash, I had been pretty successful, and part of it, I think, was my ego got in the way. That I figured I can't do any wrong. It's going to turn around. It's going to turn around something. And I had all the skills. I had the hard work. I had the knowledge. I knew what I needed to do. One of the things I forgot to realize is all my other successes were because I assembled a really good team.
Yeah. And I love what you said. I was trying to do everything myself, and there's only so much one person can do. And, you realized your strength. You're like, I'm a strategist. Like, I don't do all this other stuff. So how do you build a successful business without putting the key players? It's just not realistic. And especially when you're trying to scale, even just like this, if you're not, and this is how, I work in the wellness industry, like my meditation teachers aren't website designers, and they're like trying to put together a website. I'm like, stop. Stop. And, one thing that I've always admired about you is the fact that you're very gracious and generous. And, for you guys, David charges ridiculous amounts of money, but he's gotten on so many phone calls with me just to help me. And this is also one of my pillars that I work with is like the legacy and the impact that you're doing, because the more that we give to others, we keep receiving, and it's a beautiful lesson to learn that no matter where you're at, you can always help somebody that's trying to grow. With a little bit of water, a little bit of fertilizer.
Well, plant seeds first, and that's what the helping people is planting the seeds.
Yeah.
And for 15 years, when I was doing things, and people often ask, why are you doing that? You're not getting paid. I'm planting seeds, but that doesn't make sense. I'm planting seeds. And I read something in a book years ago about planting seeds and nurturing and watering. And I said, well, either I'm going to have a really good garden in this time, or maybe in the future. I don't know. But, everything happens for a reason. And as long as you've just got to see it through. And that's one of the things I see so much today, is that people say that they want something, but they really don't have a core purpose or why behind it. And they don't see it through, and they don't have the core values. Like I just did a workshop with a whole group of health focused entrepreneurs, and I said, how many of you have core values? A couple of hands went up. How many of you live them every single day and hold your team accountable so your team knows what they are? And that way, everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, your guiding principles are based upon that. And no one did. So we ended up doing, it was actually while I was just down in Mexico, we had a 3 to 4 hour core values thing. And then at night we went at sunset, talk about how to implement them into your business every single day.
No, that's awesome. And actually, I just did that in my business. I like reworked my core values, and then I shared them with my team. I was like, it's not just the core values, but it's also my vision statement. And when everybody's on the same page and that same alignment, what ends up happening is that we're all rooting, and rowing in the same direction, versus like one person doing this, another. Yeah. And then you're like spinning in circles. And David, tell me a little bit, if you can, for, a lot of my clients are obviously they're all starting out or wanting to just get to that next place in their business. If you could give, apart from all the amazing things you already said that I can probably turn into quote cards and put your name on it on my Instagram, I might do this. What do you think are 3 things in terms of business building that get you visibility and that help you, visibility first, and then help you convert, get more clients?
Okay. So visibility and get more clients. I'm going to take a step back before you even get to that point. Before you get to that point, you have to know what you're doing and why you're doing. And then I would suggest that they sit down and they really identify what their core values are, what they mean to them, why it means it to them, and what kind of impact that they're going to make. A book that I read, 20 something years ago, 25 years ago, that really changed things for me, was Built to Last by Jim Collins. And one of the things that he did a lot of case studies on companies, and what made the companies that really lasted, what did they do differently than anyone else? And they had a big vision. They had a big, hairy, audacious goal, BHAG. It's registered trademark. And I used that to help build my first 8-figure business that we went from 0 to 45 million over 5 years. It just so happened I was an intrapreneur versus an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur within a company, and they gave me an opportunity to start a new division. And I said, I got this book, and I highlighted it and I showed it to them, and I had all these colored clips everywhere. And I said, I talked about this, and I said, I've got a big, hairy, audacious goal. I said, within the next 5 years, I'm going to have the largest division in the company. Now, this is a 50-year-old company that was pretty consistent growth, not much. And they did 68 million in sales. And I said, I'm going to have the largest division in the company. It's going to be obviously the fastest growing, and we're going to be the most profitable. Everyone laughed at me. My boss thought well, that's a whole nother story. He's like, what the F did you just commit to? You should have run it by me. I was like, I asked if you wanted to know what my vision was, and you said you trusted me. So you could trust me or not. And anyway, within 5 years, it was $45 million. We were over 80% of the company's profitability that final year. So I did everything I said I was going to do. And I credit it to the book that I created a vision. And one of the things that they say, when you nailed it, when everyone else thinks you're crazy and everyone's laughing at you. And that's really what happened. And I really just said, well, I'll show you. Don't think I can do it. I'll prove you wrong. And, within my own company right now, by December 31st, 2030, we have a goal to be one of the top 100 companies in the US. We're going to be ranked the #1 company to work for in South Florida. And guess what? I don't live in South Florida right now. So you know what my intention is, right?
You're going to be my neighbor?
Yeah, we love coming down and hang out there. Heck, I had my birthday party down there.
I know.
You guys came too. And then we ran into you on the beach on our, that was the funniest thing, by the way.
That was crazy. I know. I was like,
wait, how do you just walk? You're in Miami and you're just walking down the beach. I'm walking with my wife, and then Ari and I run into each other. Or she's like, Dave. And I'm like, huh? That was the weirdest thing.
well, my husband says I will run into people, or that people know me in like the most random places. And it's kind of true. I run into people like on airplanes on the way to Bali, or airports, like layovers. It's very weird.
And then I've launched out an entrepreneur incubator, and I talk about it in my TEDx talk. But I want 100 clients that are part of our incubator to generate $5 billion in revenue. That's the impact. They're making $5 billion in impact now over the next 9 years or so. So that means we're making an impact. That means everything that we're doing and putting out there is changing people's lives, impacting people, impacting, we want impact companies, so people are making an impact. Yeah. And frankly, it helps change their world too. And to me, that's important.
Yeah, no, I so connect that. One of my goals is to be in your incubator.
There we go. We could chat about that another day.
I know, for sure. But one thing I just want to reiterate that you said that I think is so important before we head out is for you guys, I don't know if you've noticed, there's a consistency of hard work and grit in everything that David has said. Unicorns don't fart money. It just doesn't happen that way. And what it takes is the vision, and it's putting in some elbow grease and asking for help from your mentors and receiving it with an open mind and open heart, because that's how we are, we're humble. We're humbled. There's always something to learn.
And then pay it forward to someone else. There's people who are there for me, and there'll be people there for you, and pay it forward, help people out. I mean, you're planting seeds, you're growing a forest, and one thing that we ask people, and I didn't answer your question on how to get out there, by the way, if you want me to answer.
I do, because you're a strategist, so I know it will help.
First of all, you need to really know who you want to impact. And so many people don't know their avatar, that they want to target, and get as niched and micro niched as you can when you're starting out. And then there's a couple different things. And I know everyone says to post. Very few people tell you strategically how to post and why. First of all, when you're posting I want you to find groups. Find 5 groups, 10 groups. Start with 5. And by the way, if you're going to do this every day. And I can tell you that we've had people that we've worked with that have done this, that grew 7 and multiple 7-figure businesses in less than a year and a half doing this exact strategy. I just had a power day with someone, and they're like, well, you're just telling me to post. I know to post. I said, are you doing it? Have you done it?
Action. No.
The hardest thing is the action. You can create all day long. Okay. Yes. You need to take action. So Find 5 groups where that are 75,000 or more people, where your people hang out, and do one thing. People ask questions in these groups. Just answer.
Yeah.
Do not solicit. Do not try to take it offline. Just answer. Be of value. Every single day, answer 3 questions in these 5 groups. So now we've got what? 15. Okay, 15. Now make a post in the group of value, no soliciting, no website, no casting a great vision for yourself. Okay, be of value. That's it. It's that simple. It really is. And if what you're doing is of value to people, they'll start following you. They'll start engaging with you. That will give you clues on what kind of information is impacting people.
Right.
And once you understand this, now you can tweak that into your marketing funnel. You can tweak that into the emailing content. You'll see where people are engaging. You'll see what people like. And then once you have, and then by the way, people start following you on your page or become friends with you. That's where you put your long post in your offer on your own page.
Right.
Okay. So that's step number 1 as far as answering the question for engage. Simplified, but it's the simple engagement number 1. Number 2 is build that list. I remember I have one client came to me and about 2.5, 3 years ago, when she was just getting started and didn't do anything online, no video online, no YouTube channel, nothing. And she said, hey, I want to be on other people's summits and I want to be invited, but they tell me I have to have a list. What's this list thing? I mean, that's really what she said. What's this list thing? I'm like, it's your email list. I said, how many people are on it? I've got about 2,500 people, but they tell me I have to have 10,000. I said, okay, so here's what you need to do. I told her step number 1, which I just told you. And now you need to offer them something of value. So one of the things you can do on your own page, when you're adding the value, not on someone else's, on your own, when you do it on your own page, say, hey, by the way, if any of this makes sense and you'd like to learn more, see if this is a fit for you, go visit www.diggitydot.com. By the way, I don't know if that's a URL or not, but
it's a good one.
And I'll have a way for you to get some more information about this. Less than a year later, she had over 65,000 people on her list. It's even more now. She's got over 1 million followers on YouTube. All in less than 3 years.
This is all organic.
All organic. All organic. Here's one thing. I remember I got a phone call one day, a panic phone call on YouTube because YouTube. She's like, Dave, what do I do? I'm like, do about what? She's like, I just posted this video and I'm getting so many haters on it and people are telling me all these mean things. And I started laughing. She's like, it's not funny. I said, congratulations.
I was going to say, congratulations, you've made it.
You've made it now. And it's funny. Her YouTube growth went like this. And then from that one video, it went up to that spike where it's over 1 million now. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens because most people did the 90-day challenge that you've heard me talk because we did it. Yeah. She did the 90 days and continued. Other people did the 90 days and said, okay, did it for 90 days. She continued and it became a year and a half process. So, I think that whether you want to call it the universe, God, whatever, everything's set up perfectly. Everything that we need in this world isn't, if you believe that there's that seed of God in the universe in us, that means everything is within us. You don't need anyone else. The question is, how committed are you to what you say that you want? And are you willing to continue going until, I'm 52 years old and I still work harder than almost everyone that I know.
Yeah, but you're also super committed to your clients, which is rare to find in a lot of marketing agencies.
Well, we're not a normal agency. I say we're people come to us because they hear about us from marketing funnels because of these award things.
Yeah.
But the clients that we work with we're business growth agency. We help people with their sales plan. I figured out what we're the best in the world at. We are, if someone's looking for a marketing agent that does marketing funnel automation focused in on high ticket offers, we're really good at that because we can take the online conversation, turn it into an offline sale. We can automate the sales, but the high ticket, you have to have a conversation with someone and then teaching the sales scripts in order to be able to get that high ticket sale.
Yeah.
I mean, my highest sale that one of my clients does is about $68,000. Okay. And you can automate that if from someone not knowing you to 30 days later, they're investing $68,000.
Yeah.
It was 75,000, but we offered a discount for cash pay. So,
Well,
anyway, so it's really your commitment. That's it. Your commitment. How much do you really want what you say you want? And are you willing to do what it takes? The answer for most people is, well, I'll do that, but, and if you have any buts in there, good luck to you.
yeah. Raw and honest, ladies and gentlemen. No buts allowed unless it's attached to your behind.
There we go.
Yeah. I drop these magical gems every now and then. Well, I know you're a busy man. I want to thank you for giving us gems, for telling it like it is, because sometimes we need to hear it like that, with that clarity and that sense of confidence. And when I say, guys, like, listen to what Dave said, because I kind of say the same thing, but when you hear it from your coach, it's a little different than when you hear it from somebody else. It's like when your mom tells you something, but then like your friend, and you're like, oh yeah, they're right. So really take this to heart. His work ethic is beyond anybody's that I've ever seen. So I want to highlight that and praise you for being such a stellar human being. Your family's awesome. I've gotten a chance to meet them, and you've introduced me to some beautiful people as well. So go follow David on his Instagram. He is funny with his group, with his with your team meetings. You guys dance in the morning, which is
you come check out one of our dance parties. It's realdavidasarnow.com or no, Real David Asarnow on Instagram.
I'll put that in the show notes so you guys can check it out. But once again, thank you, David, for your time and for like these gems of amazingness, and high five to digital high five. I'll see you soon. Thank you
Thanks for having me.